This little girl is really pitiful because her parents had a disagreement and left her alone in a deserted place. When the girl was about to get out of the car to look for her parents, 2 gunshots were heard from behind. When the girl found out what happened, she immediately reported it to the police. When the police searched everywhere, they only found the bodies of the girl's parents and no trace of the girl. But when everyone thought something had happened to her, a miracle appeared. A little girl had no news, but a week later walked out of the forest safe and sound. But the important thing is how a 5-year-old girl ultimately managed to survive in the forest. Not long after, psychologists from the police department came to do a survey. But what the girl said was that she didn't remember anything. At this moment, the doctor suddenly saw a photo on the table. The father's face was blacked out. The doctor immediately called the girl over to ask the cause. The little girl said that her father was a bad person, and bad people were black. But of course the black thing should be wiped out. Who thought she was joking? Unexpectedly, when the girl went to the park the next day, she met the neighbor's uncle who was drunk and stewing the dog that he had worked so hard to find in an iron pot. But he calmly knelt down and cried because he was still heartbroken. Does he really consider dogs as relatives? People these days are really crazy. The little girl standing not far away witnessed the entire incident with her own eyes. After returning home, the girl sneaked into her uncle's house and watched him sleep while she lit the coals on fire. No one could imagine that a 5-year-old child could do such a thing. In the blink of an eye, Key became a high school girl. That day, she and her classmates found the body of a kitten they used to feed in the dilapidated girls' restroom. When I picked up the can of cat food next to it and smelled it, there was a strange, indescribable smell. The kitten was probably poisoned to death, and the person behind this was definitely in the school. Key and his friends went to the rooftop and started observing people passing by. Then, a strange smile appeared on Key's face, because she found the culprit who killed the kitten. At this time she asked her friend, if she found the killer, what would she do? The friend replied, I want to kill him. He cruelly killed the kitten, so how could he live? The neighbor's uncle picked up a bowl of milk to drink and then began to feel dizzy and nauseous. He staggered out the door and discovered that the door was locked from the outside. In the end, his uncle died in front of the door. But outside the door is Key, the person behind this. She took advantage of her uncle leaving the house to sneak into his room, go straight to the refrigerator and pour antifreeze into the milk bottle. So that the uncle wouldn't feel anything unusual, he didn't forget to shake the milk bottle well, then waited for the uncle to return home. She did this because her uncle cruelly poisoned the kitten at school. Since that happened, Key stopped as if fascinated by the feeling of day, and began to constantly search for bad guys who had not been caught to take action. Her next target is the man on TV, who was arrested for rape, but was eventually found innocent and released. She first followed the man to the milk tea shop, then let her subordinate pretend to be a network maintenance worker into the store, under the pretext of fixing the network line, then copy all the data in the man's phone and send it to Key. After getting the data, the man's phone continued to receive messages. Many fans urged him to quickly update new posts, hoping he would post more hidden camera videos. The next goal is how to have a perfect alibi. Key bought a lot of potato chips to take home to do experiments. After taking out the glue and adding cooking oil in proportion, then injecting the glue into the fried potatoes, finally, he threw it in front of the white mouse. It only took a small bite and was poisoned to death. Key then contacted his subordinates. These people all had one thing in common, which was that they all carried a black doll with them. Key sent a message in the group that there was a generous reward for taking dozens of pictures of the beauty queen at the school festival. As expected, the man was able to get a large reward the next day. He appeared at the campus festival wearing a black hat. The water bottle in hand was continuously brought down the straps of the girls' dresses. It turned out there was a mini camera installed on the water bottle. In addition, even the black hat on his head is equipped with a mini camera for fans to watch the video. He walked into a hamburger restaurant and stared intently at the girl in a maid uniform in front of him, but he still didn't know that he had been closely followed by death for a long time. First, they mixed cooking oil with glue into the hamburger shop. The chef didn't even look at it but picked it up and poured it into the pan. Fried potatoes mixed with cooking oil and glue appeared in front of the man. He casually picked up a piece to eat but had to pay the price of his life. The subordinates of the nearby ambush slot poured another chemical drug into the bubble tank. The balloon flying in the wind was broken by the man. Then he passed by the place where the water balloon fight game was taking place, and a water balloon filled with heavy chemicals hit the man's head, which officially announced the man's death. 3 harmless chemical drugs mixed together caused him to die on the side of the road. And the person behind it has an alibi and was not at the scene. But right at this moment, a pale-faced woman walked up to the man. She urgently begged, "Quickly delete the video of me." Looking at the motionless man in front of her, the woman took the dagger she had prepared in advance and stabbed him in the chest. At this time, the woman lost her reason and realized that she had become a murderer in front of many people. She was immediately captured by the police. Looking at the girl's expression when she was taken away, Key was not at all comfortable. The man was clearly killed by her. So she waited until the next day to hack the shopping center's screen and post the entire process of the man's death, because Key wants to tell everyone that the real murderer is someone else. But at this time, there was a woman wrapped in a cotton blanket standing in the crowd, seeing Key's murderous tricks. This man had just logged into a dark website at home when the police rang the bell. He was not afraid at all, holding the toilet plunger to block them from entering the house. At this moment, Koo Kyung-ji discovered that there was a doll in his house. She rushed in to get the doll. Although they were eventually kicked out of the house and unable to open his computer, they learned that he was definitely related to the perpetrator. Waiting for Koo Kyung-ji to leave, the man opened the window again, took a camera and took pictures of them, and sent them to Key to see. This made Key feel very strange. She was not a police officer, or an insurance company detective. Why was she pursuing this case? Key opened Gi's wardrobe out of curiosity and found the insurance company access card inside. She pretended to be a cleaning staff and easily infiltrated the insurance company. Key sneaked into Koo Kyung-ji's office and saw evidence of her secret plot to kill the man meticulously written on the board. The slot for installing the eavesdropping device has been prepared in advance on the light bulb. Unexpectedly, Koo Kyung-ji's assistant suddenly returned to the office and turned out to be watering Koo Kyung-ji's plants. Just as he was about to leave, he discovered a trash can appearing outside Koo Kyung-ji's office. So he immediately pushed the trash can to the trash collection area in the parking lot. Just as he turned around and left, Key climbed out of the trash can and very calmly walked past him. The smell of perfume emanating from Key made him fascinated. But when you think seriously, it's impossible for a cleaning staff to smell like perfume on their body. So he immediately chased after him. Key felt bad and quickly ran away. Unexpectedly, he couldn't be chased. Key was forced to a dead end and chose to jump from the rooftop. After breaking his right leg, he successfully chased the assistant and got on the bus to leave. The assistant returned to the office and immediately reported to Koo Kyung-ji that the perpetrator's right leg was injured. Koo Kyung-ji quickly went to Key to see if her right leg was injured. Unexpectedly, Key stood up and jumped off the stage to pretend that she was innocent, pretending that nothing happened. After discovering that Key was not injured, Koo Kyung-ji turned around and left. Key couldn't stand it anymore and immediately took painkillers. I can't help but care about this woman anymore. The woman is pouring water into the tank where the children are playing. After seeing Koo Kyung-ji, he thought there was poison in the water and quickly told the children to leave. Right at this moment, the girl drank the remaining water. Koo Kyung-ji now realized that this was just her trap. In her hand was just a bottle of ordinary mineral water. Everything is under Key's control. On this side, the fellow in charge of surveillance in the car also had an accident. Suddenly there was a strange smell in the car. The coal gas, prepared by Key in advance, slowly spread. Colleagues in some cars discovered that the car doors could not be opened. Someone had locked the doors from the outside. Not long after, the two people in the car completely lost consciousness. Wait until Koo Kyung-ji returned and the car was nowhere to be seen. That's right, Koo Kyung-ji realized that the hero standing behind was not easy to deal with. If the investigation continues, the colleagues nearby will be in danger. After the colleague regained consciousness, he discovered that the surroundings were pitch black and he could not see anything. Her whole body tried to cut the rope and open the lid to take a look, only to discover that the outside turned out to be a container. Moreover, under their feet they could feel the cool sea water. Clearly they were trapped on the sea surface at this time. Colleagues hurriedly called Koo Kyung-ji. Koo Kyung-ji hurriedly went with his assistant on a tram to search. They searched all the surrounding sea areas, but did not discover any containers. On this side, the container is gradually being submerged by sea water, and the two people inside are still waiting miserably for rescue. Koo Kyung-ji reached the beach again. The sea surface was extremely quiet. Perhaps the container was not at the beach. So she immediately took out her phone and started analyzing the sea area. Two people went missing near the parking lot. A freshwater lake attracted the attention of Koo Kyung-ji. At this time, the front of the container was completely overwhelmed by water waves. The water pressure inside had reached its limit. The crew inside tried their best, finally opened the door at the bottom of the container. Because the door had to be held by someone, Na-hai told Oh-kyung to come out first. As soon as he got out of the water, he immediately saw Koo Kyung-ji, along with the rescue team. When Na-hai was pulled out of the water, she completely fell into a coma. Fortunately, both of them were okay in the end. But Ki, the person behind everything, is currently using binoculars to observe everything from afar. Unexpectedly, an uncle suddenly appeared behind her, claiming to be an expert in the bird-loving association. He said that recently a very rare bird appeared. He kept looking at his binoculars, pushing Ki to look left, then right, making Ki dizzy. Then he took out a packet of paper and gave it to Ki. She paid no attention and prepared to continue observing Koo Kyung-ji. Unexpectedly, at this moment two police officers came to find Ki, saying that he had just received news of someone reporting that there were people around here carrying drugs. Ki was bewildered and did not understand what was going on. Unexpectedly, the police found drugs in the paper package, so the unlucky Ki was taken to the police station for investigation. And the real culprit behind all this is the guy who followed Ki. What happened in the end, but Koo Kyung-ji couldn't care that much. After determining that the colleague had nothing to worry about, he immediately opened an investigation. After learning that Ki was locked up in the police station, Koo Kyung-ji rushed to the police station. The man poured out a pile of phones from his backpack, picked up one of them and answered the phone. Slot, a girl who specializes in killing bad guys, will board a plane to go abroad this evening. After hearing the news, everyone immediately got busy. A large number of followers were arranged at the suburban airport, mixing in with the passengers boarding the plane, making the whole airport look like a net. The strange thing is that these people are not police, but are following the orders of an old woman in her 60s, the boss behind the insurance company. This time, he also personally came to the scene to arrest her, but the identity of this Mrs. Young-suk has always been a mystery. At this time, Ki's daughter arrived at the airport to check in for the plane, and was immediately followed by them, but they could not find any trace of Ki. At this moment, he received a text message from Ki. The two arranged to meet at the airport gate. Koo Kyung-ji and his assistant were also waiting outside the airport, but seeing that it was almost time for the plane to take off, the airport had announced boarding, so she impatiently called Ki. The insurance company's people also located Ki's phone and Ki has now entered the airport. Ki's appearance also made Na-hai breathe a sigh of relief. Just as they had just relaxed their mood, they began to tense up again. They did not discover Ki at the place where the phone signal appeared. Surveillance cameras at the airport also could not find Ki. But when the call was connected, it was discovered that Ki was at home. Even the phone was brought to the airport by his subordinates. Then through two-way call to talk with your nothing. Tien La spread out the hammock, but in the end, nothing was recovered, and the phone was thrown into the trash after calling. The airport that had just been bustling with people was now strangely deserted with the retreat of those who had come to arrest Ki. After Ki learned that the other side had arranged many people to capture her, not only was she not afraid but on the contrary, she was extremely proud. Just when she was proud of herself for fooling so many people, then very quickly a figure appeared outside the door. Ji discovered Ki's hiding place. Now she was looking through the glass looking for Ki. Ji immediately tried to open the door. Ki inside tried to hold the door tightly, but just standing there holding the door like that is not a good way. Ki opened the door, picked up the shovel next to him, and prepared to hit Chi after Chi saw that he immediately closed the door. The situation was reversed and Chi tried to close the door tightly. At the same time, Ki was trying to push the door open. Who is over 50 years old, is still not Ki's opponent in the end. Not long after the door was pushed open by Ki turned around and stood up, standing in front of Chi as if nothing had happened. What would it be like for a perverted murderer in his 20s to fight against a female detective in her 50s? Only stayed at home to play games because she did not regularly exercise for a long time, so it was clear that she was not Ki's opponent. Ki aimed straight at Chi's face and punched continuously, finally delivering a fatal blow. Chi almost went to meet the ancestors. At the crucial moment, just took the paint can from the table and sprayed it on Ki's face. Waiting for Ki to calm down, he discovered that he was locked with then swallowed the key into his stomach. Thinking that Ki would obediently obey like that, but Ki pulled Chi to the side table, picked up the long vegetable and tried to stab it down. At this time a fishing net suddenly flew in, trapping both of them in it, and it turned out to be Chi's mute assistant. But very quickly Ki used a knife to cut the net open. Seeing that, the assistant immediately ran away. As for Chi, Ki also pushed him hard against the wall, then took a hairpin to unlock the handcuffs and ran away. Not long after the chase, they encountered a police patrol with an assistant on their tail. But the assistant is mute, so he has to suffer a disadvantage. Ki only said a few words, causing the police patrol to leave. By the time they realized it, Ki had already used a surfboard to leave. They quickly drove a yacht to chase, but Ki suddenly jumped into the water, the real killer. The standing behind once again disappeared in front of Chi. Have you ever seen a company as strange as this? Afternoon for all the staff was a glass of medicine, but they were still very proud. Because their boss is not only the chairman of the group listed on the stock exchange, but also a candidate for mayor in the next term. But there was an employee in the company who could not stand the bullying of all employees in the company, so he took the initiative to leave the company. Tom, who was hailed by everyone as a gentleman, made Chi suspicious. In order to find out Ki's murder target, she and Hai went to Tom's company to probe Tom. Chi took cheap fruit juice from her bag and gave it to him. On the surface, Tom said he really liked drinking this water, but after opening the bottle, he didn't take a single sip. When discussing the case with Hai, she put the water bottle on the table. This action was suspected by Chi, and when she asked about the hidden camera case, Tom always had a smile on her face, but each sentence seems to be changing the subject. After the two left Tom's office, in Chi's eyes, Tom was not a gentleman, but a hypocrite. Just as Chi said, when Tom was alone in the room, he revealed his evil and cruel face. That's right, Chi, who just walked out of that room, after standing at the elevator up to 5 steps, immediately turned around and went back to Tom's office. I often vent my anger when I'm right in the corner. Chi immediately pretended to forget something. At this time, she saw glass residue on his pants and came to the conclusion that this man was a two-faced beast. Ki's next target is Tom. Now the investigation team is facing a complicated problem. Someone like Ko Tom would be worth dying 1,000 times over. If Ki really intends to kill Ko Tom, then Ku Kai should or should not get involved. At this time, because the house has been blocked by the police, if you have to live a wandering life, every day I can only live under the bridge. Even in such harsh circumstances she still insisted on planning first. Should a crazy murderer, killing bad people be punished by the law? Looking back, this man was preparing to go to work at the company when suddenly, 4 large trucks appeared next to him as bodyguards. As soon as he drove into the company, a dozen people dressed in black bowed their heads, because not only was he the president of a company listed on the stock exchange, but there is a future candidate for mayor. But even so, he still cannot escape Ki's punishment. In the blink of an eye, there was another package in front of the company's gate. Everyone watched curiously, but a string behind the package immediately exploded. After hearing the news, Ko Tom put all the responsibility on the security captain, then he gave a lot of money to hire bodyguards, vowed to turn the meeting room into an iron wall, but this did not affect Ki's plans. Not long after, the event will still take place as planned. At this time, the Kiu district's investigation team is also inspecting the scene. Phimhay was in charge of commanding. Kiu and his assistant pretended to be service staff and sneaked in with the bodyguards. And at this time, Ki's people also pretended to be service staff and dominated the exhibition. He pushed the food cart with the bomb attached into the exhibition room, then pressed the button. A group of small robots crawled out of the food truck, and everyone immediately came over with interest. At this moment, Ki through the camera saw everything he saw and was also there. At this point, Ki could no longer calm down, so she immediately ordered her subordinates to pull something out. But not only did he not cooperate, he also couldn't stop wondering where Ki was. Ku Kyung-gi discovered something unusual, and his subordinates did not care about their safety, but chose to run away alone. Ko Tom discovered something unusual, so he jumped out of the machine. Unexpectedly, a second later, the machine in the back post exploded, and the exhibition room immediately became chaos. Ko Tom went into a secret escape route that had been prepared in advance. Something from Ki saw this scene, so he immediately chased after him. Ki was worried that he would be in danger, so he called and quickly ran to the exhibition room. Looking at the right moment, when Ki crossed the street, there was a car coming straight towards him. Hearing the sound of braking on the phone, he immediately went outside, not expecting to fall into the trap that Ki set for Ko Tom. Her chest kept bleeding. It turned out to be a steel wall that had penetrated her body. By the time Ki arrived, he had already stopped breathing. At this point, everything became meaningless to Ki. Even the assassination target, Ko Tom, was taken away by Phimhay. There was no time to grieve. His subordinates pulled Ki into the car. The president on this side was also taken to an empty lot by Phimhay's people. Mrs. Young Suk began to interrogate him over the phone. It can be seen that Ko Tom and Young Suk know each other, and they seem to be hiding some secret. Ko Tom said he would keep it a secret, but Young Suk felt that only the dead could keep a secret. First, the subordinate took out a needle and injected an unknown drug into Ko Tom's body. He immediately lost consciousness. Then put him in the car, fasten the seat belt, start the car engine and shift into neutral gear, then use a piece of wood to press on the accelerator pedal, finally take a rope and hook it to the gear lever. The other end of the rope goes through car door. Using both hands to pull hard, the car immediately moves forward. But the matter was not over yet. The housekeeper calmly lit the fire, then threw it on the ground full of oil. The car immediately caught fire, causing the engine to explode immediately after contact with the fire. Ultimately, this case was handled as a traffic accident. After the processing was completed, the police organized a funeral for Ki, but her only relative, Ki, was not present at the funeral. Ki is sitting in a restaurant eating rice. A mother at the dinner table not far away was throwing a tantrum about her child. A slipper was thrown onto Ki's dining table. Seeing this, the landlady quickly approached and apologized, but Ki pretended not to care. Then follow the maid out, then drag her to the rooftop, stuff her slippers into her mouth, and prepare to push her down. The maid used all her strength to push Ki down, then took the opportunity to prepare to run away. Unexpectedly, Ki suddenly pushed the woman down from the rooftop. Ki quickly ran out to check the situation and discovered that the female servant was dead. Then Ki's subordinates threw her body into the river. Because Ko Tom is dead, Ki has now lost her murder target. The subordinates next to her say to Ki, "Don't you want to avenge something for yourself?" These words truly aroused Ki's excitement. She knew Ku was a gamer, so she set up an account in the game, through the game, to contact Ku Kyung-chi once. First, Ku sent a specific meeting location to Ki, then set up a trap at the meeting point. Unexpectedly, Ki predicted that Ku would take this opportunity to arrest him. Ki walked behind the man, pretending to be a waiter with a smile on his face, then put his arm around his shoulder. The police who were about to come to help were also pushed to the ground by Ki. Ki then pulled out the dagger he had prepared in advance and stabbed him long and deeply in his arm. Ki called Ku and said that Ko Tom was taken away by a mysterious person, but the news said it was a traffic accident. The investigation team clearly had many people. Why was Phimhay the only one who received a promotion and salary increase? After finishing speaking, Ki immediately turned off the phone and left the meeting place. Ki's next target is Phimhay, who often stays home alone, when she is not careful in case Ki strangles her until she passes out with a towel. So the next day, when Ku went up the mountain, he wanted to find Young-suk to ask about Ko Tom's death, but she firmly said that Ko Tom died in a traffic accident. Dong also reminded Ku of not being diligent in his work, allowing Ki to escape every time. While the two were talking, Ki wearing Phimhay's jacket suddenly appeared in front of him. Ku was shocked and seemed to understand the whole situation. This woman was locked in the trunk of the car and then taken to a deserted place. And fell into the wine barrel, then one kick caused Ku to fall down the mountain. The wine barrel quickly rolled down the mountain, rolled through lush forests, rolled through several streams, and finally fell into a hole. After Ku woke up, she found herself lying in the middle of a black hole, with only an iron ladder around to support her. Ku picked up a shoe and threw it down, wanting to see how deep this hole was. As a result, I didn't immediately see any sound. It seemed like if I fell down I would definitely die. So Ku slowly stood up and crawled along the iron ladder to leave here. Unexpectedly, due to carelessness, he almost fell down. On this side, the two assistants of Ku ran to a garbage dump in the suburbs through the GPS device in their shoes. Suddenly, a thick bag fell from the garbage truck, attracting the two people's attention. The assistant turned over the thick pad to look and saw Ku positioning device. It seemed that Ku was here. At this time, Ku decided to try again, but she slipped and almost fell down. Fortunately, she reacted quickly and grabbed the iron bar. I followed the iron bar and tried to jump over and grab the ladder, but I didn't expect that the ladder had deteriorated due to many years of not being repaired, and now the increased gravity caused it to immediately break. By the time Ku woke up, the moon had already risen, but Ku fell into an old fishing net, so he was able to save his life. After resting for a night, Ku picked up a fish box, used the lid of the box to cut the fishing net, and finally used the newly cut fishing net to make a rope, then slowly climbed up. Even though the hole is only 100 meters